So in this part of the lecture, we are going to just be taking a tour of the custom GPTs that you can find in the library. So share my screen. First of all, what are custom GPTs? And then a case study about using one of them. The XLI, there's a few very similar tools that I'm using in my lectures. So what are they? First of all, you can think of them as apps that are built on GPT. And they have specialized skills like making videos or all sorts of things. So instead of you having to build your own GPT, which is the next video in this series, you can just browse those and pick one that suits your job. You also, if you've got a Plus or a Pro subscription, you can publish your own GPTs. And the next video, I'm going to show you one that I developed and published as a learning tool. And there are all sorts. There's like 15,000, 150,000, I think it is. These, there's loads of them. The most popular one is the astrology birth chart. So just put in your date of birth and place and you get your birth chart and all sorts of astrology predictions. But the second most popular one is really serious. It's the ScholarGPT, which is for accessing Google Scholar and Archive and all the other databases without hallucinating too many references. So yes, 150,000 custom GPTs around, and they're organized, I'll show you in a moment, with themes about education or coding, lifestyle, productivity, that sort of thing. And people are uploading them all the time. The trick when there's so many of them is to know which ones are actually delivering. So let me just show you this Monday one. It's really cool. I used that Monday in, here's Monday. I used it when I was doing the learning tool. This Woodhouse Education Inc. started off with using Monday, but let me just show you Monday as it is. Who are you? Okay. I'm like your emotionally exhausted, eye-rolling, internet-absorbing best frenny, except I never leave, never sleep, and never forget that time you asked me how to boil water. So it's got a very, very different tone to the normal ChatGPT speak, but it can have any tone you want. I want you to respond to this prompt in the tone of Nigel Farage, politician. My question is, how do you stop the small boats? No idea whether he's going to be able to cope with that, but that was on the news this weekend. I have to channel the spiritual energy of a pub landlord with a Union Jack tie and a pint of lukewarm bitterness. Bitter. Well, it's quite simple, isn't it? Actually enforce the borders. Anyway, so basically, this is able to mimic any tone you like. What about Donald Trump? Okay, respond to a similar question, but now be Donald Trump. So I used it for PG Woodhouse, which I think is a really nice tone in that Woodhouse Education. Okay, first let me say, nobody stops boats better than me. Nobody. I built the greatest border security. So it knows all that. Anyway, bit of fun. All right, back to lecture notes. So we'll take a tour of these in a minute. There's language and writing tools. If you can't speak English, it doesn't matter. It'll do it all for you. maths and stats helpers, and a lot of good code, latex output, but also coding tutors for more complex languages like Python, R, MATLAB, slide and video creators. I'm using those for my postgraduate project assessment, and so forth. So here's some recommendations. I already mentioned ScholarAI, which pulls papers and generates very good references. Essay Reviewer will give you feedback on draft essays. Language Buddies for people who need more practice translations, practice conversations. That's on the language I'm writing, just 3 of each because there's so many. Maths and Stats, Wolfram Alpha, obviously it's the Wolfram Alpha, but in GPT form. So it does all the plots and calculations for you. There's the statistical tutor, helps you answer statistical questions. Everything is step by step with all the fully working, not just the answer. Latex helper, that will help you with mathematical typesetting of your documents. Python helper, RStats, MATLAB assistants, these are all good coding tutors, whether you want statistical programming or econometrics or just general Python. And the slide maker, that turns text into slides with image. Then there's video AI. I used that last year to explain a video, a 2-minute video. And the students wrote the scripts. And this year I'm going to be using Picolabs. And the Picolabs GPT links with the Picolabs AI animation by making proper prompts for the animations. So that's one of my projects for assessment. And then on the XLI, these 3 are more or less equivalent. You can see the number of users, 2 million on the first XLI, but also this one is a newer one with fewer users, but I used that one in the case study, and so much better than Claude. I tried using Excel with Claude. It was absolutely appalling experience, whereas it's really easy with these XLAI tools. All right, so let's just go into this case study. What I did was uploaded a CSV file and first of all asked it to plot the data, and it did it very, very quickly. And then I gave it some lecture notes and I gave it a task based on the lecture notes. And I'll do the same here. And I can't keep the conversation like I can with projects, so I'm going to have to start afresh. So I took a screenshot of the end of the conversation, basically given this task where I asked it to take daily returns and compute an exponentially weighted moving average volatility using square root of 365 for the annualizing, and then plot them. So it used a human model and chose its own lambda. I didn't say it should use lambda as 0.594, but that's the usual sort of risk metrics one. And then this is the solution, and then gave me ideas for further improvement. What would you like me to do? I could put some Bollinger Bands on the plot, or a dynamic threshold band to highlight the high volatility periods, etc. So it would go on, but I stopped at that stage. And I said, well, I want the Excel file with the data that you computed, showing the formulae that you used in each cell. Or, and of course, this is what it is doing. Are you actually using Python, not really Excel? Yes, you're right. I used Python to compute everything, including these log returns. And this is the formula I used for the volatility, and then not in the Excel style, cell style. But I can do it. I can do it. I can produce an Excel file that will generate the formulas. Now, this is something fairly new because this was something that wasn't available in previous versions, but now this can happen. So let me just finish with that case study. And here we are. So this is, let me just show you some of the GPTs here. So there's featured ones here. These are the trending ones. ChatGPT made Monday, and also there's a data analyst, I haven't used that one, but I'm sure it's pretty good. The ChatGPT ones tend to be very good. DALL-E is the image generation one. I'm going to use it to create an image for this playlist. And then you've got productivity. These are the video ones. This, that's not that good. This is a better one, video AI. Things helping you do research, and on and on and on. So massive library there. Let's have a look at the Excel AI that I used here. I'm going to upload a file. That was the file. Excuse me. Plot these data as time series using two different axes, two different vertical axes and different colors for each set of data, for each column of data. So just to make sure it can read the data and process it. So it's showing the data. Now it's analyzing. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. Hopefully it does it. I mean, it's taking longer than it did before. It was very, oh, there we are. Here we are. And I can download that plot. We use different colors, but it is the same plot as before. If I want, I can download it as I did and put it in my lecture notes. And then it explains the solution and ideas for improvement. I'm going to ask it to do the same thing as before. I'm going to upload the lecture notes relevant to this. Here they are. And I'm going to say, I want you to read these lecture notes and understand how to produce an exponentially weighted moving average volatility, which requires taking the log returns, or you could take the ordinary returns, but why don't you take the log returns and then produce that UMA volatility series. Make sure you use a annualization of 365, square root of 365, because the crypto markets stay open 24/7. They don't close at weekends. What else? Use a smoothing constant of 0.95, please. Thank you very much. Probably take a little bit longer to do this. Let's see. But it's very powerful, isn't it? It's incredible. Well, it's pretty quick. Okay, it only did Bitcoin. I want you to do both series. Do S as well, the S USD series, and put them both on the same chart. Thank you. S series gonna struggle to find that. Oh, it understood the S with S. Clever, clever. Here we are. So that's really good, isn't it? And now let's see what's going to do about the Excel. I understand that actually you do all this in Python, even though Excel is the interface you use to present the results. However, I want you to create an Excel file that's got all the calculations in it. So when I click on a cell, I can see the Excel formula that you used. Please do that. I know you can do it because you did it before. Taking a little bit longer. Here we are. There's the, let's have a look, see what it's produced. Oh, no, this did not work. It worked before. You see, these things can be unpredictable. You might have to try it again, do more step-by-step reasoning than I did there. It did work before because I've got the proof here. Where are we? look, see, this formula here is for the UMA based on squared returns, yeah? Using 0.94 it did before. So it can do it, but it doesn't always. Anyway, so that's the end of this lecture. And one more to go. And that's on how to build your own custom GPT. That's context engineering at its best for no coders.